We've all been there, haven't we? We've all paid to go to some really, really awful charity balls. Yes, I was at one the other day. We'd had dinner. The dinner was all right. We'd had dinner, and then the announcer says, "And now we have some wonderful entertainment. We have some belly dancers." I'm not a fan of belly dancing. And I wouldn't have minded so much if they'd just come on and played and everybody else could sort of carry on talking and carry on chatting, because I was having a nice conversation at the time. But because they'd been announced and because they came on stage, the entire room went silent. And for 20 minutes, the entire room sat in silence watching some not very good belly dancing. I was quite bored. I was starting to think this really was not worth the money. And this introduces my first big tip for you today. There are two types of entertainment. There is passive entertainment and there is active entertainment. Passive entertainment is something that happens in the background that contributes to the general atmosphere of the event, but that you don't have to concentrate on. You can carry on chatting, you can watch it if you want, but you can carry on chatting, you can go to the bar, you can do what you like to do at these social events. That's passive entertainment. It just goes on in the background, adds to the atmosphere. And then there's active entertainment. Active entertainment is completely different. It's something that is announced, something that is on stage, something that is presented in front of everybody that people feel obliged to watch. And people have to watch active entertainment. And what they'd done at this ball was they'd taken something that would have worked quite well as passive entertainment. If these belly dancers, for example, had been dancing as we were all coming in, it would have been quite nice. It would have added to the atmosphere. But they turned it into active entertainment and they put it on stage and they made us watch it. And because it wasn't very good, everybody sat around in silence watching something boring. So that's my first point. Be very, very careful. When you have passive entertainment, make sure you use it as passive entertainment. And when you have active entertainment, make sure it's really, really good, because people are going to watch it. So it's great, by all means, have things in between the meal, in between the courses that add to the atmosphere. Have things at the start that add to the atmosphere, but don't announce them and don't put them up on stage and don't make everyone pay attention to them. Just let them add to the atmosphere. When you do make people pay attention, make sure it's really, really good. So use passive entertainment well, use it and get the best stuff you can for active entertainment. Which leads me nicely into my next point about after dinner speakers. I have also seen some really, really awful after dinner speakers, because they weren't actually after dinner speakers. They were just speakers. And they were interesting enough, and in another context I probably would have enjoyed what they were talking about. But the problem is, after dinner you want something very, very specific. You see, once you've had something to eat and maybe a few drinks, you're feeling a little bit lethargic. You just want something light. You want something funny. You want to be entertained. And that's the problem. Most after dinner speakers that you get for free aren't funny. They often don't speak about a light subject and they just aren't entertaining. So if you're going to have an after dinner speaker, get a good after dinner speaker, which is quite hard. You really need to have a professional if you want them to be good. Now, I'm a member of the Professional Speaking Association and I know quite a few after dinner speakers. And as a minimum, as an absolute minimum, you would be talking about £500 for an after dinner speaker. Now, if you're going to pay that amount of money, are you going to sell any more tickets based on that person coming? Probably not. Will it enhance the event? Absolutely. It'll make it a lot better. The only way I think you can justify it from a cost point of view is if you have an auction immediately after the after dinner speaker. The after dinner speaker is very good. I think you'll make more money in your auction. But generally, unless you really want to enhance the event and you really want to pay for it, don't have an after dinner speaker. Unless you can get someone good, don't get anyone. If you do want to talk to me about it, I know a lot of after dinner speakers. I'm an after dinner speaker myself. I do some work for charity. email me at info@theciviccoach.com, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about finding the right person for your event. So that's the second top tip. If you're going to have an after dinner speaker, make sure they're good. If you can't find anyone good, have no one. And finally, I just wanted to mention contacts, because I have a lot of contacts, so I know where to get good speakers from. But maybe you haven't met a lot of good speakers. But when you are going around town, going to official events, you will meet a lot of people who provide different types of entertainment. You'll meet a lot of bands, you'll meet a lot of musicians. So really, what you want to do at the start of your year is be quite canny and think, I've got this ball coming up. Maybe it's not for 8 or 9 months, but I need to start thinking about it now. When I meet musicians, I need to be nice to them. I need to think about how I can help them so that down the line, when we get to my charity ball, they'll help me. Because if you help them, then they're going to be much more disposed to either giving you a very reduced fee or perhaps even just doing it for expenses. So at my charity ball, when I was mayor, I had a band who I'd done quite a lot with in the run up to it. I'd help them as much as they can. They performed for expenses. I had a string quartet from a local orchestra that I'd been supporting, and they weren't professional, but they were pretty good, and they of course did it for absolutely nothing, and it just added a little bit of something. So that's my third tip. When you meet people, be conscious about how they might be able to help you down the line, and try and help them first and foremost, and once you've helped them, they'll be much more disposed to helping you. So finally, make sure that you make the most of your contacts. So those are my 3 top tips for getting great entertainment at your charity ball. Number 1, use active and passive entertainment properly. Passive entertainment's great for creating atmosphere, but active entertainment's got to be very, very good. If you're going to have an after dinner speaker, make sure they're very, very good, or don't have one at all. And finally, use all of those contacts that you make during your time in office. So those 3 things are going to help you have a wonderful charity ball. If you want a little bit more help with that, I'm putting together a series of webinars over the next month or so. One of those is going to be aimed entirely at organising a charity ball. So if you'd like to join me for those webinars, they're entirely free. They'll be packed full of value. There will be lots of tips about making your charity ball amazing. If you want to join me, put your email address into the box below, and I'll send you all of the relevant information. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link down there. Click on the link, pop in your email address, and I'll get in touch with you, let you know when I'm doing this wonderful free webinar. So that's my top tips on using entertainment to make your charity ball excellent. My name's Duncan Baskerville Brown. I'm the Civic Coach. Thank you very much.